it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, here we go. It is Monday, KVJ, After the Show podcast. Coming off of what I hope was an awesome weekend for everybody.
It's all right.
It's all right. Okay. Saw Bird, Denny's on Saturday morning. We're out there at the Komen Walk. It was very nice to get to meet everybody that came by. Like Alfonso, photo of him there. He's been listening since he was 9. He's 31 now. And his parents didn't speak a lot of English back in the day when they would listen, but they liked the way we talked English, so they would listen to the KVJ show to learn it. How fun is
That's
that?
amazing.
Yeah, that's fun. Great to see him and everybody else that came out there. I know, Virginia, you had several events on Saturday. And
I did. I was out in Boynton early for the Schoolhouse Museum's Family Fun Day. Have you ever been to that, the Schoolhouse Museum?
No, I've
in
not.
It's actually really cool. I didn't even know about it. And they've got an amphitheater adjacent to it that is amazing.
Amazing, huh? Okay.
Absolutely should be a venue that KVJ explores. Amazing amphitheater.
Okay. Very cool.
And then Saturday night, I went to the Maltz Theater because Katie Marlowe was in Beautiful, the Carole King musical. And she did so good. It was really fun. It was a great show.
Okay.
They closed their 2-week run last night at the Maltz, and it was a great show. Panda loved it. Rocco loved it. Mags loved it. Like, it was such good music. You don't realize how much Carole King wrote.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I
hooker is, she is deep and penetrating with her musical skill.
That's the stuff the Bird's into. That 70s singer-songwriter shit.
Yeah, we had I was thinking about doing the Zach Brown show at the Broward Center Saturday. Didn't do it. Too late, too expensive, too old. Stay home. Yeah.
I hear you, man.
What about you, Bird?
I had some ups and I had some downs over the weekend.
Okay.
My ups were good. My downs were pretty shitty.
Okay.
So it would equal out to kind of a, I don't know, I'd give it a C- weekend.
C-. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't get your dryer fixed?
Nah, I felt really bad about my guitar accident. I felt stupid. I hate when I feel that stupid. I mean, we all do clumsy things, but it just...
Slip, fell, smashed your favorite guitar.
Yeah, and it was dumb and stupid. I felt bad about that, and a few other things happened. I got some family issues. We all got family issues, but just some shit that kind of took the sting a little bit out of a good weekend.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry to hear that part of it.
Well, I mean, I could lie and say it was a fucking great weekend. I tore it up.
Yeah.
It was up and down.
Yeah, I had to do the washer dryer thing. Thankfully, got somebody that came and got that all hooked up for us. That was
Good.
nice. A guy was from Colombia, and I was watching Griselda at the time, and he was just telling me as a kid growing up what it was like, in Medellin.
Oh, that's interesting perspective.
Yeah, with Pablo. And he said, somebody always knew a friend of a friend worked for Pablo in some way. And it wasn't, he had people that weren't all just hitmen and drug runners and traffickers, like somebody would be his mechanic and, his chauffeur and stuff like that. But he said he was always handing out money. They would always be just, that was it,
Man of the people.
Yes.
But also would kill the people.
Right. It was kind of a weird little thing with him. Like Pablo would see your house and he's like, hey, I like your house. And, let's say maybe the house is worth, $50,000. Pablo's like, I'll give you $100,000 for it. I'm like, no, I don't want to sell. And he's like, okay, how about $200,000? Like, I really want to hold on to it. He's like, I'm going to give you $200,000 or I'm going to kill you. So what's it going to be? And they're like,
my
take the
gosh.
house.
Pablo's a man of the people.
Yeah. So there you go. So it sounded like it was a little torn like that. There were some things that people are like, yeah, thanks for all the money and everything you're doing, buying us houses and this and that. But still, it sounds like with those guys like Pablo and Griselda, which I watched, they were the boss. They called the shots. There was never, we're not going to negotiate. I'm not going to not get my way. Well, I'm going to get my way, and that's part of it. So you can do it the easy way, or we can do it the hard way.
It's the same kind of a concept.
Fumo or plato.
The mafia. Yeah, they kill a lot of motherfuckers, but they also take care of their own in their town and in their community. So it's this blurred line depending on what side are you on.
And I think for people initially, they loved, at least I know from the Narcos thing and from seeing the documentaries, they loved Pablo. And then at a certain point, it kind of turned because then typically what happens, they wind up killing a few people that they shouldn't. And then that's when the people kind of turn on you, be like, yeah, that's not cool. It's a kid, or it's a mom, or it's somebody that's innocent, or it's just somebody they shouldn't have.
I think sometimes, too, people get high on their own supply, and you start going Scarface, and you start to slip up, and you start making irrational decisions, and you can't if you're in charge.
Well, part of it, I think it happened with Pablo, and that was at least how they played it up in the Griselda part. Now, I don't know how much of it was true. Like I said in my review earlier, that was the one issue. I'm not sure how accurate the latest Netflix Griselda is, but she thought everybody was after her. And I think part of that was true, that she started killing people in her organization thinking that, and the cops were kind of messing with her. They would hit one of her safe houses that they knew, making her think in her mind she had a leak. She had a rat. And so she would kill 10 guys just to make sure she took care of the informant, and then they'd hit another safe house. She'd be like, I didn't get him yet. And then she'd kill more.
My God.
It's always a big tactic to try to act like there's a rat within your group, and that's how you tear the team up, is having somebody within, and then that's how you start the whole fucking thing falls apart. I've seen it happen in baseball, where almost like a plant coach would come in, or somebody would just kind of throw off the whole balance, and you go, all right, what the fuck's going on here? Are they here to help? Are they an informant? And that's how you get whacked in the mafia, not in baseball.
I was going to say, that's a really tough peewee league you're in.
It's some extreme baseball for sure.
It's very extreme. Yeah, Renee, she said, OMG, I binged the 6 episodes. I really loved it. She didn't seem like her normal act. No, I think Sofia Vergara, I think her acting was really good. That wasn't it. As I just thought about it a little bit more, a woman who had, and in fact, it was so unclear. Somebody even kind of called me on it today, and they're like, she didn't have 3 of her husbands killed. It was just 2. I'm like, no, that's where if you watch the Cocaine Cowboys and all that together, the father of Griselda Blanco, the cocaine trafficker in Miami in the early 80s, her 3 children were fathered by a guy, and they'll tell you, she put a hit on him. So she had him knocked off first, and then she had another guy that was kind of like the stepdad, and then she shot him herself. And then the third guy, that kind of turned it. And they didn't tell the story right, because that was what turned her with a lot of her old hitmen. She had her 3rd husband, who was the father of her youngest child. She had him killed in Colombia, and they thought that was out of bounds. And they're like, now you've gone too far. And then they're like, fuck her, we're going after her.
Really?
So that's kind of what turned
what
a
did
lot of the people
What did
against
these
her.
dudes do that made her so angry?
He took her youngest son from her, because that was his kid, and he just thought she was spiraling out of control, and it was a custody argument. And he wanted, the kid's name was Michael Corleone. They named him after the Godfather.
Wow.
And so he took Michael Corleone, and she said, no, you don't. And she went and had him killed, and then brought Michael Corleone to her.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? She won custody.
Look at that.
Yeah, when
Crazy
the
how
other guy
that works, huh?
when the other guy's dead, you get custody.
Yeah, something about murdering you or your family, it tends to get people in line.
Uh-huh.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, so Corinne said, I guess it's her son, the Michael Corleone, that isn't happy about the show. And like I said, my only issues is that I don't think they made Griselda Blanco look as nasty as she was. The big thing they left out, she had 3 of her husbands killed, and they think she killed 250 people, had them killed.
Wow.
You didn't get that feeling that she had that many people killed. 250 is a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Well, it's the most of any prolific serial killer. I mean, who's got more than that?
Yeah, if you kind of start to rank it that way, and I don't know about other, cartel guys, El Chapo or anything like that, where their, death count is, but
a lot of the big time counts are no more than 45 to 50. That's when I'm talking about a serial killer that's a solo act.
Yeah, and they started off with a cool quote, and it says from Pablo Escobar. It says, the only man I was ever afraid of was a woman named Griselda Blanco.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And she brought him in. to the cocaine trade, and they didn't even go into that. And
She
I
trained
needed
Pablo.
That. Yep. She
Wow.
brought, like Pablo was like a car thief or something like that. Wow. And she brought him in and taught him the ropes and how to do it and all that. So yeah, you didn't get that from watching it. So like I said, I feel like they missed it. 6 episodes wasn't enough, or they didn't go deep enough, and they didn't tell her backstory.
Sometimes, too, I'm not going to lie, if I watch more than 4 episodes of something in a row, I get depressed. I got to I did that with my sister out there in Oregon. We were on episode 8 of Munchausen's disease movie.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
I go, Tina, I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to walk around the dark Oregon skies right now because this shit's too heavy. Too much of it is all I'm saying.
I agree.
Like the Vietnam special I watched on Christmas.
On Christmas.
After the 9th episode, I go, I'm kind of in a dark place right now.
What, you didn't want to put on Elf or something? You wanted to put on Death in Vietnam?
Christmas movies on Christmas, they don't tickle my fancy. It's weird.
But Vietnam did?
I never said I wasn't fucked up in the head.
We were talking last week about the new Roadhouse movie, and there was just a part of it that it fell a little flat for me because he's at a Roadhouse, and it's a bar in the Keys, and they walk in, and it looks like a regular tiki bar that'd be on the water. Something nice. You might go to an Isla Morada.
Yeah, it was like that.
And the Roadhouse is supposed to be, like I said, the guitar player had to play behind chicken wire because he's going to get hit with beer bottles or, roughed up.
It's dingy. It's fucking gross in there. Everyone there is pretty much an offender of some sort. That's a criminal.
That's what initially bothered me because I'm like, who needs an MMA guy to be a bouncer at a tiki bar?
Tiki too soft.
Too soft.
Tiki too soft for this.
Let me see how good you are, Kev, with the original Roadhouse catch line. Be nice.
Until it's time to not be nice.
That's my boy.
And I only know that because you say it all the time. I think I've seen that movie once.
You've drilled it into our heads.
Good, I'm glad.
And Eileen said, if they're going to film a Roadhouse 2 in the Keys, they should have filmed it at the No Name Pub, which was and probably still is a hangout for drug smugglers, fishermen, and outlaws. I grew up going to this pub when we were down there for breaks and knew firsthand the pot smugglers that were there. Originally, this was a hangout for wreckers, smugglers, and fishermen. Rumor has it that the second floor was a brothel in the 1920s.
Whoa.
A true piece of Keys history and not the tourist trap the Key West has become. You can almost guarantee key deer on the way out to the pub. And it has the best pizza in the Keys.
Tell you what, the 1920s brothel, it could not have been fresh.
I don't think brothels are known for their fresh poon.
But I'm saying 1920, and look, this is not about, I'm talking about the poon and the dick. I bet they were both just quite unsafe.
Dirty.
Savory, yeah. Riding horseback.
Anytime you are pooning it up in a brothel, I just think, whoa, how much poon is just constantly getting pooned?
Because I don't think everyone had a car at that point, right? In 1915, 1920?
No.
People were still, showering, air conditioned. Me and Danny's got a whole theory on that. When the plumbing changed and the showering changed, that's when the freaky shit started to happen.
That's when you wanted to jump in the poon.
That's when I think you just started doing, I think 69 became a little bit more prevalent. Not to say we didn't have 1869s. Of course we did.
Right.
But I think it became a little bit more soccer mom, if you will.
Kevin, can you confirm any of his poon stats?
No, I cannot. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
He's saying stuff and it's making sense, but I think he's just pulling it out of his ass.
But yeah, I
Just
can't
you think
verify.
they were doing rim jobs in 1850? Hell no.
You don't think so?
Man,
I think that only came out when we got trimmers.
I feel like there might have been some people, that would be
cut back the bush.
licking some ass and going down, but I think it didn't really start hitting the mainframe until showering and all that got a little bit better. See what I'm saying?
So hygiene is what elevated the rise of 69.
It just turned us into more of freakazoids, just trying out different things is all.
But you can't really back that up.
I mean, that's just common.
It's just
I
a
think
thought.
some people like the stank. And then if you're a kind of person that likes the stank, you get charged up by it.
Yeah, but I think
and then you got to rim the rim.
But I think the people that like the stank, that's a modern day fetish. I don't think they liked it back in the 1840s. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's all they knew.
I've read a lot of books on the Civil War. Not once did they mention it.
Exactly. You would think we would know about 1869ing a little bit more. You never even hear of it.
Never.
Just
He's right on that, Virginia. I've never read a Civil War book and
In a single history book.
not one single history book.
you never heard Lincoln talking about that.
Never. No, he never talked about Mary Todd and the.
Oh, Mary Todd loved to get that box munched.
No way! I would guarantee Stinking Lincoln was not getting involved. There's no way. First of all, his top hat alone would get in the way.
Oh, he takes his top hat off to lay it down.
I would like to know if Mary Todd and Abe Lincoln really did get after it.
And specifically, did they 69?
I'm the only one thinking this?
Yep.
Probably.
No, there's no way.
You're the weirdest one thinking it.
I'll give you that.
If you are looking for the No Name Pub when you go to the Keys, it is Big Pine Key, and you would just head west, and it starts to curl up to No Name Key, and it's right before that. So if you want to find that, I've never been there, and I got on my little list, and I'm gonna go check it out. Next time I go to the Keys, I'm going to No Name Pub.
I love it.
I gotta tell you,
And I'm gonna ask them when I get there. Be like, hey, we had a question. Back in the 1860s, where people were 69ing.
chat room, they're against me. They're going, Bert, I don't think you're giving people enough sexual credit for back then. Maybe they would. You're right. Maybe they would go in a pond.
They were baby making.
You're right.
They were getting it.
I guess I didn't think they would be as freaky back then.
Freaks always want to freak.
Yeah, you know what? I
It's human
stand
condition.
corrected.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for making me see you.
If you don't know your bush is gross, because you don't know any different, you just think your bush is how your bush is.
But I'm also talking about people licking butt. You know how that's kind of a thing. They're doing that back then.
I kind of think they probably were.
Okay. The chat room agrees with you. It's a slam dunk.
I think we're just animals at heart, and we've always been this way.
That's pretty much what they're saying.
They didn't have Nair, and they didn't have laser hair removal, so they didn't know what they were missing.
They just said, we're all gross and let's just do it.
Yeah, they didn't have douche. Even though a few of my homegirls back then could have used a douche or two.
That must have been an amazing invention, like the microwave when that came out.
Oh, those girls had to love a douche.
They could have used something else. I mean, it's not that revolutionary.
You're right.
Yeah, I bet they probably had something.
Yeah, kind of like a natural spring.
Using
of
like
sorts.
a vinegar and
Yeah.
something like that.
Why did they ever make douche in the vinegar flavor? Who would ever want to have a vinegar puss? But that was like the most popular thing back in like the 70s. Vinegar douche.
Look, I'll give you salt and vinegar chips, and that's where I draw the line. You're right. Why would vinegar be?
Nobody wants vinegar box.
Nah. I stand with the witch on this one.
Nobody, huh?
I don't know. I just don't see it.
Got an email here from Cynthia about Travis Kelce. She said when Kansas City won the Super Bowl, Travis Kelce grabbed the mic out of Patrick Mahomes' hand on stage and screams the lyrics, "You gotta fight for your right to party," and then goes on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, sings that song on stage with him. And by singing, I mean he screamed the song. Dude, why are you yelling? So that's why he did that.
Okay, that's his
last night.
thing.
Okay.
That's his celebratory, we're going to the Super Bowl, or we just won the Super Bowl, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's his thing.
With Fallon.
With anybody.
Okay. Yeah, because it seemed very random last night when he
Now that makes sense.
did that. It doesn't really still make sense, but
none
at
of
least
it makes sense.
I just like that someone snatched a mic from Mahomes.
Yeah, is that the brother?
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes and his brother are just okay. I've had enough.
I got no problem, Patrick. I think
You've
he's
been there
fine.
too many times. You always are at the Super Bowl every freaking year. Sit down. Stop trying to be Tom Brady.
But you don't like the brother Mahomes. He's the one that annoys you.
Oh my gosh, and then the wife. Yeah.
Okay.
They're too
He's
much.
a douche.
I get
They're
it.
too much. Yeah, I don't put him in that same
The
category.
look at me hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think he's a fantastic player and well deserved. So yeah, Cynthia said, and you got the attention of the entire world, and whether that's your slogan or not, perhaps find another. It reminds me of an overcharged high school football player, and I went to St. Thomas Aquinas, so I feel like I have the credentials to say this. Yeah, no, you're right. It was over the top. Yeah. So there you go. Toph can't wait till football's over. You only got one more game, Toph, and then you get pretty much 8 months of peace. Kristen, she said, I was curious your thoughts. It's talking here about Kimberly Conrad speaking out against Crystal Hefner. A little bit of a fight there. It's amazing that Hugh Hefner's been dead these several years, and it's kind of just becoming a thing.
Look, they all have stories to tell, and you got to let the girl tell her story. Crystal needs to leave her alone and let her tell her story.
I think the thing that people always will question, and it's not necessarily my opinion, but it's what I see people say. Why do they wait until after someone's dead to bring out all this
She was
stuff?
scared of him, probably. I mean,
And that's usually what they'll say. that
even
they're
in his
scared.
old age, Hugh Hefner, I'm sure, had a lot of power because he still had some money. And maybe Kimberly's experience with him was different from Crystal's experience. But, I mean, every girl is entitled to say what happened when they were there. And I want to hear it. So please, let's not silence these girls.
Yeah, if you don't know, Crystal Hefner was Hugh's third wife. She was only 26 when she married him in 2012, and she was with him until his death in 2017. So she only had to put up with that for 5 years and then got out when she was 31.
I mean, she kind of won the lotto as far as out of the wives.
Yeah, right. So now she's got this memoir that is called Little Spy Holes. Or she's got this little memoir, and she talks about little spy holes. Sorry, I thought this was one little tidbit that was rather interesting. It sounds a little Epstein-ish.
Yeah, we did this in the dirt.
Yeah, she was talking about how there were these little holes that he had at the foot of the bed.
Camera-sized little holes.
If these videos turned up, what celebrities would he have? And would there be any blackmailing going on? Or would they ever be released?
If they turned up, I think it would be just a bunch of dirty stuff, and you would have some celebrities, and you would have some famous faces.
Well, remember people forget about this when Hulk Hogan fucked Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
And
It was
all of it was on video.
It was all
Right.
on video.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan won a fuck ton of money from that case, which
Right.
but you can't do certain things like that. And just
Right.
because you recorded it, you secretly recorded it, doesn't mean you're legally allowed to leak that stuff. And you could argue that really sunk Bubba. Bubba was at a different level of popularity.
Yeah.
Then all that happened.
Financially, at least.
And I'm kind of shocked that Hogan recovered as well as he did. Because not only did he have that sex scandal, he had a racial scandal that went on that was
Right.
part of that video that did not make Hulk look
Right.
good at all. And I would say Hulk kind of escaped. It could have been a lot worse for the Hulkster. Because they kicked him out. I believe they didn't allow him in the WWE Hall of Fame, but then I think they brought him back.
Because I think they realized how many other dirtbags are in there.
They're
and
all
like,
doing
yeah.
exactly. They're like,
I mean, Vince McMahon just finally had to lead that TKO after the latest charges against him. So they're like, how do we keep anybody out for a moral fault?
I read the Vince McMahon story.
What do you think?
I don't think they're going to have enough because they're only releasing part of the text messages and some are redacted, and you don't. They're gonna try. This is what they're gonna try to say. It was all consensual, and that she was part of it. Even though it's disgusting, terrible things, they're gonna try to produce a track record that she was willing to do all that.
Did you read that one thing that he did on her head?
There's so many over the top claims, Kevin, and honestly, man. The text messages he was sending her were over the fucking. They were insane, but they only had his responses and not what was going on with what she was saying. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you have to kind of paint the entire picture. If it's going to go to court and you're going to try to really get the guy, you're gonna need the right evidence. Look, I think Vince McMahon's a scumbag. I think he's done some very unsavory things in his life. He just hasn't been. They haven't gotten him.
They haven't got him yet.
They haven't gotten him yet.
So do you think that she was like playing along with it and was into it when it was happening, and then afterwards was like, I'm going to sue?
I don't know. I just know that when you had told me everything, and then I looked more into it, I don't think it's a slam dunk like we were talking like it was going to be. I think they're going to have to bring some heat towards Vince McMahon.
Well, the thing that Kristen is saying here, just talking about, some of Hugh's girls, whether it be Crystal or Holly Madison, she said, I'm a little put off by women who participated in the Playboy experience coming out against it. I guess I feel like Playboy is a notorious operation, and if you know this, why not just leave? Isn't it pretty apparent what you're signing up for, such as having sex with Hugh Hefner? I know that probably isn't the most culturally sensitive thing to say, but I'm a woman, and I can think for myself without being pressured by others to blindly agree with other women because we share a gender. And, of course, I know that no one really knows what went on with most of these stories either way. Just kind of curious what you guys think. Yeah, I think from the surface, it seems like the easiest thing, saying, okay, get out. But I don't know. How do they get persuaded? I think the one thing that's
money,
fame,
shows,
notoriety.
And what he would do is he would have them under contracts where they got nuggets of money and nuggets of fame, but they had no control over anything. He controlled all of it and would never give them so much money in any contract where they could move out of the house and go do their own thing.
Yeah. So he's, in a sense, manipulating them to the point where they kind of feel trapped. And
yes.
They're like, what else am I going to do?
Well, they were trapped. And we didn't know the extent to what was going on in his bedroom, and hearing things like there were little holes drilled in with cameras. Like, that's definitely new.
I wonder where those videos are, if they do exist, and who's on them.
Great question.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Or did a cleaner take care of the videos and they're no longer able to be found because somebody burned them?
But that's always the argument, is what you had just brought. Now, why do you stay so long if it's that toxic? Why don't you blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And then the counter would be, because I was afraid and I didn't know.
I'm young, I'm dumb, the money, the fame.
But then there's a case where, look, if you know you're going to do something sexual and you're doing it for a gig and you are doing it consensually, that's on you. You're
totally.
You're choosing to do that.
And I don't think like Holly Madison, Crystal, or Kimberly, none of them are saying that they weren't there by choice. They're just saying, hey, here's the layers of just what went on there. Because if y'all think it was just, photo shoots and frolicking in the grotto, that wasn't it.
Well, look, if you were on the casting couch and you did some things that you feel bad 10 years later, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But you did it willingly, guy or girl. I think that's something you have to take responsibility of and live with. And you can't.
And I think they do. But I think, too, what they're spilling the beans on is maybe some stuff that he accumulated. And specifically, there's like scrapbooks that Hugh Hefner has, and like Holly and Crystal and a few of the girls have come out and said, look, There's pornographic pictures in those scrapbooks, and we know for a fact that those girls were plied with drugs and alcohol, and their pictures were taken and they were put into these scrapbooks, and now these scrapbooks are at like UCLA and places because Hugh Hefner's dream was to have these scrapbooks put into a museum, and so like the college has them and they're not on display, but like that's revenge porn in a way, because some of these girls were intoxicated and young and taken advantage of. They were told they were going to be in Playboy, and they never made it into Playboy, and they were just taking pictures of them doing all kind of stuff.
When it comes to drugging people and taking advantage
that's what they're saying happened.
You're the lowest of the low. You're a fucking animal. You're evil. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I was to go into a meeting and the guy goes, you wanna do the meeting, or I'm going to sleep with you and I'm going to give you this movie, and I choose to do that, and I have a chance to walk out and get the fuck out, and I still go on and do that, I got to take responsibility of that.
Sure, but this is not just that.
And I agree.
There's so much more, and it's so layered, and I think it is good to hear what went on so that we can all know, hey, this happened. Let's put things in place so this doesn't keep happening in Hollywood. So protected.
It's just when you hear stories of, it was the 7th time, and I got in my 7th movie, and then 10 years later, you're going back and saying, I'm the victim, when you knew what you were doing. And that's where the fight's going to always be. And that's the argument usually.
Yeah, I think it's just what levels of manipulation does it go to, and when you keep somebody plied on drugs and things like that, they're not in the right mind, and that's part of what goes on. I was talking to some officers that were in the sex trafficking trade, and they were saying, a lot of these girls are in there and they're not held by force; they've just messed with their mind so much that I think they call them like Romeo pimps, something like that.
Right.
So they're sex trafficking them, but for some reason these girls love the people because a lot of times they don't have a father figure or something like that, and so they've just messed with their mind so much that they could have the door could be wide open, they don't leave.
It's the manipulation and the mental,
Yeah. I was like, that's pretty crazy, man.
But
we need to talk about it. It just needs to be spoken.
There's a couple specials that I think WPBF has this week I'm going to check out on it.
Because not everybody realizes that this is going on all around us.
Yeah.
And the more we talk about it and the more we say, okay, this happened, that happened, it shines a light on the deviants.
Well, and understanding the nature and how they do it.
Right.
Yeah. Because until I'd heard that, I thought they were all shackled to beds and they would run off if they could. And it's like, no, most of them, we go in there and they don't want to leave. You're like, come on, man. What are you doing?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy world, man. Hector, he said something else that I can't believe is going on is the people walking with sharks in the Bahamas. Did you see that video? They finally put it out today where the kid gets bit by the shark, the 10-year-old.
I saw that it came out, but I cannot watch it. I do not want to. It'll give me nightmares for that poor little boy.
Yeah, you just see he's in there, and I guess his mom or his dad, one of his parents, is trying to get him out. You can just see the blood's coming from his leg, and she's screaming like crazy.
I can't watch it.
I mean,
but he said, come on. He's like, what do you think's going to happen? You put your 10-year-old kid in there with sharks. You signed off on it. Yeah, I just wonder what's going to happen. Is there going to be a lawsuit against Atlantis for this? Or does the disclaimer that you have to sign to put your 10-year-old in the tank relinquish them of any responsibility?
Great questions.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes down. And there's just some whack stuff going on in the Bahamas right now, too. I know you were over there not too long ago. But
what's happening now?
The U.S. State Department has increased its advisory level to Americans traveling to the Bahamas. They said an increase in gang violence in the nation's capital has resulted in 18 murders this year already.
Oh, my.
They're saying they don't know that they'd be able to protect you if you go over there, so it's kind of go at your own risk kind of thing.
That sounds fun. That's a good tagline.
That's scary.
Yeah. So I don't know what the cause of increased gang violence is in the Bahamas, but yeah, they're saying be mindful of what you do.
Well, it's very, very poverty-stricken, and they still haven't recovered from the hurricanes. They really haven't.
Yeah.
It's still a tough place, and when you have people that are just scraping and fighting to get by,
yeah,
it makes for a desperate society.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's kind of a downer. Let's talk about cheese or pizza.
I do have some emails about the Rainforest Cafe. You were talking about
Okay.
Bring it back around for him.
great places that you would recommend. You talked about the Rainforest Cafe, and we just found out. I was reminded that there is one in Sawgrass Mills and then Disney Springs. Charlotte said, yes, Rainforest Cafe is at Sawgrass, and it's crappy food. There's nothing fancy about it. Jaybird must be smoking something.
He's not going for the food. I think he likes
Okay.
the atmosphere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brandon said there's also another Rainforest Cafe outside the entrance of Animal Kingdom.
All right. And what does this fucker have to say about me?
I think it was a novelty back in the 90s, but like now it's just kind of like, all right.
All right. I went like 5 years ago. I had a great time. But then again, my 5 years, it could have been 20. I don't know.
Place you might like, Drew and Jupiter asked if you have ever seen Pierogi Brothers in Juno Beach, just east or just off of US 1 and Donald Ross. Know that you love pierogies.
I brought
Bird.
you pierogies from there one time.
Is that the one where my friend works?
Yep.
That is the one?
Yep.
Where the old Fridays used to be.
Yep.
Yeah, they have good food. They're great.
Okay, yeah.
I brought you some of those when you were sick one time.
Yep. And I don't think I got to eat them. I think someone else ate them.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No, I'm like 0 for 4 with your pierogi givings.
yeah.
His were homemade. They were nice.
Yeah. Pierogi pizza. If you're really trying to throw the towel in and not give a fuck about your health for a day,
Or your weight.
pierogi pizza, my friends.
Okay.
It is delicious.
Okay. Daniel said, place I'd recommend, the Naked Taco in Coconut Creek. All right. Have to keep an eye out
Naked
for that.
taco.
Yeah.
Well.
We were just talking about
sexy.
naked tacos a bit ago.
We were.
There's so many pizza places around that you don't know which ones to stop at. There's even ones in my area that I've never gone to stop at because they just kind of look shitty. And the same thing with some taco places. There's a lot of them around, but you go, I don't know, man. Am I going to waste my time? It looks kind of gross.
Yeah, like I said, it's almost like a certain thing you look for in places. Like I said, I was talking about how I was in Lauderdale, right off of Davie Boulevard, just west. One place was a Latin place, and it just didn't look great, and it didn't smell great, and it didn't turn out great. And then there was a little taco stand that was kind of painted like the Mexican flag, and it was fantastic, and their salsa was unreal.
Yeah, man. If I walk in a restaurant and my feet are sticking to the floor, automatic
Yeah.
turn off.
Yeah, so
Automatic turn
there's
off.
good dives and there's bad dives. In the Mexican taco place, it looked clean. It just was kind of a small little shitty type place.
Oh.
And it worked out great. Amanda said, hey, if you guys want a punishment idea, I'm on vacation right now in the Smoky Mountains, and a bartender friend of mine was telling me about a cement mixer shot. You pour a shot of Bailey's and then squeeze lime juice on top.
Oh,
Take
yeah,
the
it
shot, you hold it in
curdles.
your mouth, yeah, and you shake it, and apparently it curdles.
We've
so
done
disgusting.
that. We've done that.
We did that for a punishment.
We did it for a trick on
okay.
on somebody. I think it was on Jaybird.
No, not the lime juice. Please, no lime juice.
More lime juice for Virginia. It's a punishment. Or you could eat a bag of sugar-free gummy bears. Got an email from Ryan. You eat those Haribo ones that are sugar-free, and you will absolutely blow shit out your ass.
They don't work on me. I had 2 bags of them.
The sugar-free?
I got a bull. I got a stomach like an ox.
Wow, yeah, you do.
Stomach like an ox, Kevin.
Huh. Yeah, he sent me a review of it. It says, one person wrote, what came out of me felt like someone tried to funnel Niagara Falls through a coffee straw. I swear my sphincters were screaming. It felt like my delicate starfish was a gaping maw projectile vomiting a torrential flood of toxic waste, 100% liquid, flammable liquid, napalm. Do not do.
Very, very,
Descriptive.
very talented writer.
My delicate starfish.
Yes.
Somebody popped a bone piece when you read that.
Okay, let's hope.
Say what?
His name is Jaybird.
I did not. I got a boner through a diarrhea email. Is that what you're saying? No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah, so we got that tomorrow. We'll have to dial up a punishment.
Oh, that's right.
Do
It's
it, bitches,
tomorrow.
Yeah.
It creeps up on us.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be Easter before you know it.
Well, that's right. You'll be dead. That's how it goes, right? All right, y'all. Thanks for the emails. You guys have a great Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.